Hey everybody, I'm Ebony. This is Ebonee's Creativity. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. Today's video is another installment of a series that I started a long time ago called Can I Dupe It? This is where I am taking items that I feel are outrageously priced retail and trying to create a duplicate of that item for way cheaper. I have a planter on my to-do list because one of my clients is really wanting one, and I think I can make it for much cheaper than retail. So that is what I'm going to do in today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please watch the video all the way to the end. Help me out, y'all. Subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. You know the routine. You know how it goes. We're trying to grow the channel. You guys leave me comments saying how underrated I am and how you can't believe that I don't have more subscribers. But some of you who make those comments aren't even subscribed. So please check and just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share the video with a friend who might enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and let's hop right on into today's project. Here's the look we're going for, and you can see that the prices vary, but to me they're all too expensive because I've only spent $30 to accomplish this project. The materials that I'm working with are 5 ballisters and 5 cedar fence pickets. I'm going to start out by cutting 2 of my ballisters. They are 38 inches long, and I am cutting 45-degree angles on the bottoms. These are going to come together to form my legs on one side of my planter. I could just kind of make these stay in the X like this, but I want to get better with cutting angles and using the tools that I have, so I'm going to try to make this look a little bit more professional. If you are not very good with tools like me, cutting angles is a pain in the butt, but I need to get over it because I've got stuff to make, so I'm going to try to do that on this particular project. I'm just going to hold these in place with one brad nail, this way they don't move. I don't have a helper around for this particular project, but if you do, it will go by so much simpler for you than it did for me. Now that I've got my brad nail holding this in place, I'm going to find the angle by just marking where they naturally cross and cutting at that point. So after I made my mark, I popped the pieces apart and I went ahead and went to my saw and cut it, and here is what I ended up with. Here I'm just kind of dry fitting the pieces and making sure that they fit together and that they're going to stand up and be level. Once it checks out nicely, I'm going to go ahead and secure this with a brad nail as well, just because I don't want to start gluing and screwing things and then have something go wrong. I've learned not to do that because I know I'm not the best with these tools, so I'm just doing the best with what I have. So now that I'm satisfied with the fact that this is standing up on its own, I'm going to go ahead and do the same process with the smaller leg on the bottom. Here's how the smaller leg looked. I just did the same thing, crossed the pieces over, marked where the angle was. I cut a 45-degree angle at the bottom, and then I used the marking to determine what the angle was that would be going right up against the rest of this. So now that I have one leg completed, I'm going to do the same exact process over again to make my second leg. I want to make sure that my second leg is exactly the same size as the first one, so my piece will be stable and won't be wobbly. So I am just literally copying what I did the first time, laying the pieces on top of each other, marking my angles, and cutting from there. You might wonder why I didn't just disassemble the first one and just make exact duplicates of those pieces. And the answer to your question is, I don't know. When I got it perfect, I didn't want to take it apart and mess with it. I just felt like this was a surefire way to get the result that I wanted. So now I have all my pieces cut out, and I'm just going to lay them on top of each other just to reassure myself that they are the same and that everything is lining up and looking good. And then I'm going to secure my second side of supports with brad nails as well. More of the same here. I'm just tracing my angle for this bottom piece, and I'm going to cut that out and then secure it with a brad nail. So now both sides of my supports are complete, and here is where we are right now. Here are the remnant pieces that I have left over from when I cut my ballisters. I'm going to use these to make the supports for my tiers. These are the parts that will actually hold the baskets. After measuring and cutting 6 of these, I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill a hole in them, which will help make it much easier when I go to attach these to the main legs. It would have been wonderful if I had a pocket hole jig to go ahead and do this and make the holes and the screws kind of more hidden, but since I don't, I'm just pre-drilling my holes at an angle. Now I'm going to go ahead and start gluing and screwing some of this up. So I'm going to start out with the pieces that I just pre-drilled. If you have someone to hold this in place while you screw it, that would really help you out a lot. But my main thing here is just to make sure that this kind of forms the X with the support piece that I did previously. And I'm going to just go ahead and put all my weight into kind of holding this and screwing it at the same time. And since my planter will have 3 tiers, I'm going to repeat this same process 3 times on each leg. Here are both legs with all 3 of those supports installed. Now I'm just checking one more time that everything stands up and looks good together, and since it does, I'm going to go ahead and start gluing and screwing those initial pieces that I just put in place with the brad nail. One good thing about having used that brad nailer in the beginning was that now there's a nail and a hole that will help me find the perfect position to put this back in since I've removed it to glue it and screw it. More of the same here. I'm just pre-drilling my holes at an angle. Then I'm going to secure this using deck screws. That was kind of a lot of steps, so I'm going to go through it one more time really quick. I'm going to pre-drill my hole, detach this because it's only being held on with brad nails. Then I'm going to glue it and then screw it. Another tool that I really suck at and I'm kind of afraid of is this table saw. So I wanted to make sure that I got some use in with this project. If you don't have any scrap wood laying around, you want to purchase a 6th baluster. And that is because we're going to use a baluster to make the connector pieces to connect our 2 legs. I'm just going to cut this in half lengthwise, and that is what I'll use to connect my 2 legs. Now that I've got my 2 pieces, I'm going to secure those using glue and brad nails. I had to use a few nails this time because I wanted this to stay in place enough for me to stand it up. And right now I'm using 3/4 inch brad nails. After gently, very gently turning this upright, I finally got it upright, and now I'm going to secure my second support. So it's got glue on both ends, and I've already pre-drilled holes, and now I'm just securing it with a 3-inch deck screw. Now I've measured the distance between the 2 supports for each basket, so I'm cutting the cedar planks to fit that measurement. Mine are 40 inches long. Up next, I'm going to go ahead and dry fit the pieces that I just cut just to kind of figure out what to do next. Once these are looking good, I'm going to try to figure out what to do on the sides to close in the baskets. I came up with making a template, so I got a piece of paper and made the shape of this side. Then I cut out a template using wood and it looked good. Then I used that template to cut out more side pieces for each of my baskets. Here's how I did that. I just traced my template and cut it out. My baskets ended up being longer than I thought they would be for some reason. Not quite sure what happened with my measurements, but that's fine. I didn't have enough solid pieces to go ahead and make another basket, but I just used scraps and glued 2 20-inch pieces together to create my 40-inch basket, and here's how I did that. Here's how I assembled the baskets. I just laid one side flat, one side going straight up. There is glue. I'm sure you can see it seeping out the back, but I went ahead and just secured it with brad nails all down the sides. I attached my triangle pieces on each side with glue as well as nails, and this is how my basket turned out. So now that all my baskets are complete, I'm going to go ahead and just sit them on the stand. And while they are on the stand, I'm going to go ahead and make some drainage holes. Here is how everything is looking as of now. One thing I did notice is that since my pieces are triangular, they don't sit up on their own, which is something that I don't like, but I might make a stand or some kind of device to where my client can stand them up on a table if she wants to remove the baskets to work on them. Up next, I am just going to add my soil. Now that I've added my soil, I'm going to go ahead and plant a few seeds in my planter. After adding some flowers, plants, and herbs, here is our final finished product. Leave me a comment and let me know how you think this planter turned out. Would you make it? Did I dupe it? There are a few differences between mine and the originals, but I think mine is just as good. I even cut some more triangles just to make dividers between each item and added some markers so I would know what's what. I think this turned out super cute, and now I secretly want one for myself, so I may build this again, and at a price of 30 bucks, I think it's a fabulous weekend project to do. Leave me comments letting me know how you think this turned out. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have the time, please select another one of my videos to watch from the choices on your screen or in the description box below.